Welcome to Love, Lust, and Lies, and I am your host, Ken Canion, and today's topic is relationship advice. Stop taking advice from your friends. Stop taking advice from your friends. And I'm going to get into why. So, listen, I'm going to start this out by saying this. I don't hate on people. I just kind of tell it like it is. Now, Steve Harvey has made millions of dollars off relationships. Cool. That's good. And a lot of what he said in this book, I've read the book. A lot of what he said in this book, okay, I'm with it. But what I tell people is, people say, well, Steve Harvey said this, Steve Harvey said that. And I say this to people. And I say, well, that's cool. Steve Harvey can tell you what not to do because he's married currently. But he's also had some failed marriages. It's kind of like, I look at it kind of like this. If you're going to get advice from somebody who is successful in the area that you want to be successful in. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Either they have coached people in that area or they have been successful in that area themselves. So it's kind of like this. If you wanted to get diet advice, if you wanted to learn how to lose weight, you would not go to a 600-pound person to get advice on losing weight. And I'm just being honest, y'all. Well, and why is it that we go to people who don't have a successful experience in a particular area, and we want to get advice for them, and from them. And I'm like, wow. And I'm like, yo, number one, here's the first thing. You want to go to people who have been successful in the area that you want to learn about. Case in point, right now, I'm growing my business. And last year, I made a conscious decision to go find people who were successful in the area that I wanted to be successful in. So they were making millions of dollars in business, and I got under them. I bought coaching under two of them. Because they are doing exactly what I want to do. They can show me the path, the roadmap, the blueprint. They can give me the blueprint on how to be successful in those areas. And so the first thing I'm going to tell you is stop seeking knowledge from people who are not successful in the area that you want to be successful in. Okay? Some people don't like it, what I'm saying, and that's fine. It's kind of, to me, like, it's like you get a lot of ministers, in church. They will tell you how to be sick. They will tell you about yourself. They'll tell you about things, and they offer their opinion based on the word as they assess it, and they tell you how to be successful in something they've never been successful in. So I just want to say, because you can preach the gospel, but there are a lot of areas you ain't successful in. So don't speak on it. I'm just being honest. So look, we're gonna jump into this. The reason why I can tell you about relationships is because I have a successful relationship. It's been through ups and downs, has weathered the storms, been married 18 years, been together, I don't know how many years before that, according to me, probably 24. But no, we weren't together 24, but we've been together total in 24. She said 30, but I said 24. But anyway, we're successful at it. So let's dig into why you shouldn't take advice from friends. All right? Why you need to be successful. My wife told me I'm not successful at math. That's all right. I got a calculator. All right. So this is my show. I don't have to listen to her. All right. So here's what we're going to do. First of all, people think, now listen to me carefully what I'm about to tell you. People think marriages don't work because people don't fight. Like a lot of times they think marriages don't work because people, they don't fight, they don't get, or they think marriages do work because people don't fight. That is not true. Okay, that's a fallacy. Marriages work because people know how to fight. See, the truth is conflict is going to happen in any relationship. Every relationship. Every good relationship would not be good without conflict. The conflict is necessary. It is a necessary thing in every relationship because how you work through, how you navigate conflict will determine how long your relationship lasts. So we're talking about giving advice. And someone approached me recently, and she was saying, you know what, Ken? I'm just done in this relationship. I'm done in this relationship, and my friends, they've been there since the beginning, and they know. And one of my friends told me that I should just let it go. And I said, oh, really? I said, okay, your friend told you that? And I said, the truth is, many of my wife's friends told her she should cut me loose. Now, she got the greatest thing since sliced bread had she listened to their advice. And I'm going to break down what you should do instead. What you should do instead. So, there are reasons why you should not take advice from friends. Now, listen, I'm not saying a friend cannot speak on your situation. Okay, listen to me. I'm not saying that. My friends, we talk all the time. But what I am saying is, before you make a decision that is going to affect you the rest of your life, you want to get more advice than with your friends. Because your friends are going to give you information most of the times that simply make you feel better. They want you, because they're your friend, they want you to feel better. So what they're going to do is, what is the closest, the most direct route to helping my friend feel better? Okay, get rid of him. Get rid of him, because they think if you get rid of him, he's the source of your pain. You get rid of him, the source of your pain is over with. You might hurt for a minute, but I know that is the quickest way to alleviate your pain. Or make up with him. Don't worry about it, girl. Let it go. Because they figure that is the shortest route to ending your pain. Because what a friend wants to do is end your pain. A lot of times, that's why we don't have friends who will tell us the truth. Because they know, many of us, if they tell us the truth, that it will cause us pain and not end the pain. But I say, a true friend is not concerned with shortening your pain, but they're concerned with making you a better person. Sometimes in making us a better person, it comes right along with pain. All right, they work cohesively together. They work side by side. And so that's the reason why I say, let's stop taking advice from friends, and I'm going to tell you who you should take advice from before it's over today. Number one, the reasons why you need to stop taking advice from friends in your relationship. Because, number one, they don't know your spouse or your better half. See, here's the thing. They don't know your spouse, better half, or significant other. What they don't know is they only know what you tell them. They don't know the person's background. They don't know the person's childhood. They don't know the trauma that they've been through. Because the truth is, you are not going to tell them the trauma. If you know about their trauma, that your spouse's trauma, your boo's trauma, your significant other's trauma, you're not going to tell your friends about that. That's something you're going to hold here, because now your friend isn't privy to all of the information that might contribute to why your relationship is having conflict in it, why the other person is having, problems in the relationship. See, the truth is, you're asking them to solve a problem based on limited information. They can't do that. That's like asking me, okay, I need you to put this puzzle together. However, I'm going to leave out, it's a 500-piece puzzle, but I'm going to leave out 10 pieces. Those 10 pieces are vital to putting the whole piece together. And see, you don't know the significant other. The other person doesn't know the significant other and everything that goes with that. And that's the reason why. So a lot of times ladies will say things like this to me. He's not emotional. Women, he's not emotional. He's not, okay, he's different than you. And, and the truth is, many men have not been nurtured to be very emotional. They've been nurtured to solve problems. They've been nurtured to fix this. All right, if there's acute pain, alleviate the pain. All right, the window's broken. A man ain't gonna get too emotional about it. He might be upset who broke the window. But after that, he's like, forget all that. Okay, let me fix the window. Get on the phone, call the person to fix the window. That's his MO. And so, if you don't understand, if they don't understand who he is as a person, they cannot help you solve the problem. And there are things you're not going to tell them. That's just the truth of the matter. Okay? You're going to hold it close to your vest. The second thing is this right here. Why you shouldn't take advice from friends. I wrote this down. They don't know you as well as you think. They don't know you as well. So you want someone to help you. And y'all, can we be completely honest? There are things about us we don't tell our friends. There are things that we feel, things that have happened to us, things that have contributed to who we are as a person that we simply have not told the people around us. We have not told our best friends. There are things that my friends don't know about me, and I'm sure there are things that I don't know about them that pertain to my relationship. And I'm not going to tell them. There are things, and so what happens is, if you're expecting the person to give you advice based on something, based on, limited knowledge, it's not going to work. So there's a piece of this pie that's missing. They don't know everything about you. And so because they don't know everything about you, how can you expect them to give advice? That don't even make sense. And so what you're wanting to do many times, you're wanting a person to tell you exactly what you want to hear, to tell you that, to validate your emotions, to validate your thought process. And see, a true friend is not in it to validate your thought process, but they're in it to make you better, make the relationship better, help you become a better version of yourself. If your friend isn't in it to help you become a better version of yourself, then they're not a true friend. And so that's the reason why. That's the second reason why you need to stop taking advice from friends. The third reason why you need to stop taking advice from friends is they don't know the type of relationship you have. And why this is important. Every single relationship is different. My wife and I do coaching and counseling. Okay? We coach couples. And people look at our relationship and say, her friends will say, I could never say that to my husband. And then some of my friends say, the way y'all talk to each other, it's like the craziest thing. Y'all act more like partners, homeboys or homegirls than husband and wife. Well, for us, that's the relationship we want to have. We want to be able to say anything to each other in a way, even if we're just joking. But when we're serious, we can talk to each other in a way that other people are not open enough to feel free to talk to their spouse or their significant other about. And if you don't know what type of relationship that they have, if you don't know, now, and this is very important, if you don't know that in their relationship, the female doesn't feel like she can speak her mind, whereas the male will say what's on his mind. Well, they may have the type of relationship where the male doesn't talk, the female does all the talking. They may have a relationship where it's almost like he doesn't do anything without her permission. You don't necessarily know the dynamics of the relationship, so how can you give advice? How can your friends give advice on it? And that's why that brings me to this point and who you should ask. I'm not quite through with that part, but I want to interject this here. If you can't go to your friends because the friend doesn't know the kind of relationship you have, the friend is not going to be privy to the kinds of questions to ask. They don't know what to do. I'm going to get into that in a second. But how can you get accurate, adequate information that is going to help you grow unless you know the type of relationship you have? And you many times are not going to tell the friend that. You're not going to tell the friend because they're close to you, you don't want to feel like you're being judged. You don't want them to judge your boo. You don't want them to judge your relationship. So you don't tell them everything. You tell them just some stuff. You tell them the good stuff that makes sense until you just totally so angry with your spouse. Then you just get what I call, when you're angry and you get that red dog mad where your eyes are red and you start telling everything. Then you say, oops, after you done told everything, and then your friend like, for real? And then you told everything, obviously, because you think it's over, because you're so mad, you're so emotional. Then you get back together 2 weeks later, and you're like, oh, shoot. I told them all of the stuff I didn't tell before. Now they're looking at you side-eye. All I'm saying is, they don't know what type of relationship you have. Number 4, reasons why you shouldn't get advice from friends. Number 4 is they don't know what it takes to save your relationship. They don't know what it takes to save your relationship. All right. So that brings me to this point. So here's who you should go to. The reason I say don't go to friends, you need to go to people like a coach, like a counselor, somebody that you don't even know. And here's why. Because they have the tools, the skill set. They know how to direct you. They know how to ask questions that make you become emotionally honest. Most relationships are devoid of emotional honesty. You're not willing to tell your partner exactly how you feel. You're not willing to tell him that he doesn't satisfy you sexually. Now, when you bring in a person, because you don't tell your spouse that, your friend that, you don't tell them that part because you don't want them to look down on it. And I understand that. That's why now you bring in somebody who has the tools to help save your relationship. You bring in a coach. You bring in a counselor. You bring in a therapist. You bring in somebody who is going to help both of you become emotionally honest. Your friends are unable to do that. Your friends don't have it in them to do that because if it's your friend, they are biased in a sense. They want you to win. They might like your spouse. They might like your significant other. They might like your boo as long as you with them. They might like them, and so what happens, and if you were not with them anymore, so that tells you that they have some biasness in them. So they are not equipped to do what it takes to have the tools and what it takes to save your relationship. And look, you have to find somebody who has the tools to save your relationship. Look, if I'm building a house, I'm going to go to a carpenter. I'm going to go to a brick mason. I'm going to go to somebody who has the tools to build the house. If the house is battered, beat up, and I'm rehabbing the house, I'm going to go to somebody who's used to rehabbing the house. Let's tear up the flooring. Let's repaint. Let's sand the walls. Let's fix the foundation. Let's do all of the things that are necessary to rebuild this house. That's just like your relationship. You're going to go to somebody who doesn't have the tools to help you rebuild your house, to rebuild this relationship. That doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. And I'm going to get a little bit deeper. Then you're going to go to the pastor, a certain pastor. Go to a pastor who's had a long relationship, who's worked through some stuff. Go to not the pastor who's been married 2-3 times. He may be good at delivering the word, but he don't know shit about relationships. I'm just keeping it 100. You know what? The reason I can listen to my pastor about relationships, because he's been married longer than me, a year longer than me. Because I know he's been through ups and downs, just like me. So I can get advice from him. I'm just saying. Now look. I'm just being, right now, I'm telling you, some people you want to get advice from, they just don't have the tools. They don't know what it takes to save your relationship. So the next time you get tempted, now, okay, if it's a small thing, y'all, no big deal. If it's a small thing, you know what? Kenny won't put the toilet up. That's a small thing. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a big thing. However, if it's this, and this, what I'm simply saying is, look, don't get advice from people who don't know how to save your relationship. And the last thing I would say why you shouldn't get advice from friends, and I'm going to tell you what to do after it, is many of your friends don't know the signs of a healthy relationship because a lot of them haven't had one. And y'all, we have over 50% divorce rate. That means that most people, I would say 95% of the people, don't go to the altar and say, you know what, in 3 years, I'm going to get a divorce. It's going to be over with. We're going to argue. We're going to go crazy. She's going to be flattening the tires. I'm going to cheat on her 2 or 3 times. She's going to find out. She's going to look at my text message. She's going to find out. And all that's going to go wrong. And we're going to be here at divorce court 3 years later. No, people don't say that. What they say is to death do us part. We're going to get married. We're going to get married. We're going to do this. We're going to live life. We're going to have kids. We have a big house. We have a big car. We have all these things. But what they don't plan for is the conflict along the way. And neither of them were equipped to handle it. My wife and I were not equipped to handle conflict. We were headed to divorce court 12 years ago. We were headed, because we, just like many couples, we had this grandiose idea of what marriage was. We didn't know that marriage is a grind. Marriage is work. Marriage is you bringing 2 people together with different ideologies, different perspectives, different viewpoints, different pain points, different thresholds. And then they come with other baggage, things that happened to them when they were children. And you don't think about all of that. You just think that you're in love. So you're not equipped to fix the relationship. And that's the reason why I say, if you don't know what a healthy relationship looks like, then find someone that does. And most times, it's not your friend. Find a coach, find a counselor, find a therapist, somebody who knows the signs of a good relationship. And the signs of a good relationship is not doing what somebody else is doing. You know what? You can listen to me carefully. It's good to model successful relationships, but don't mimic the relationship. What is the difference? You can model, you can take things. It's good to model and look at what they're doing and say, hey, I like this piece, I want this piece, I want that piece. But what I don't want you to do is mimic it. I want to be them. I want to be exactly like them. That's dumb. Because there are circumstances in everybody's relationship that is different. People can't have the same kind of relationship me and my wife have because they ain't been through what me and my wife been through. They can't have the same kind of relationship we have because our personalities lend themselves to this kind of relationship. I couldn't be married to somebody who was just shut up and really quiet and didn't say anything, and sometimes she talked too much. But I can live with that part of it. But what I'm saying is our personalities lend themselves to our kind of relationships. And what I want you to do is start modeling other successful relationships, but don't mimic anybody. Don't become anybody. And I've seen it so many times. Well, pastor doing this, pastor say you got to have this amount of money in the bank. And I'm not knocking pastors, but I see people doing stuff. The pastor is just a man, a flawed man who has an assignment from God. It's true. He has an assignment, but he's flawed too. He's going through stuff just like you are. If he got a successful relationship, cool. But if he having problems, then he might not be the one to go through. It may be whoever. And so I will say this. Find someone who knows the healthy signs of a relationship. And many times, it's not your friend. I want to leave you with this. If you want to have a successful relationship, you have to be willing to, number one, invest in it. My late bishop said this: you can never profit from something you have not invested in. He said so many people want to profit from things they are unwilling to invest in. You have to be willing to invest in your relationship. Number two, find mentors, people who have gone through stuff and got through it. Mentors who can tell you, hey, you know what? Here's what happens. And they'll be honest. They'll tell you the real deal truth. Because if you're with somebody who is unwilling to tell you the real deal, then you shouldn't be around that person. And the last thing to understand is this: be on a path of discovery. All of us need to become better than we are. You need to discover who you are. What makes you become a better person? What helps you to become a better version of yourself? If you're not willing to get on a path of discovery, then I doubt very seriously that both of you have to be willing to do that. I doubt very seriously if it will last. But if you're willing to do those 3 things, I promise you, and not get all that advice from friends, more than likely you got a chance to make it work. All right, y'all. That's it for your boy. I'm Ken Canion, the host of love, lust, and lies. Until tomorrow, you guys have a great and wonderful day. And remember, every journey starts with one step.